Hi, everybody, and welcome to 2024. Happy New Year! This was an exciting time for me to just take a bit of a break over December and to rest and to get into some other projects that was waiting for me. But here we are in January, and I cannot wait to get into our weekly creative practice together with you. So this week, I'm just going to be showing you what you will need in order to participate in my weekly creative art prompts. And this has been a lot of fun to sort of think through and plan for the year and to see what I want to show you guys. So you guys, I'm just going to be going through my art materials with you guys. I'm going to show you the new journal that I'm going to be working in, and I'm also showing you the new playlist that I've created for this year's creative practice. So remember to hit that subscribe button, look at the playlist, the links are in the description of this video so that you don't miss out on a single episode. And then I also encourage you guys, after you've watched the episode and the little demo, to grab your art journal, be inspired by the prompt of the week and render it in your own way. Then take a photograph and share it with me on the Creative Heart group on Facebook, where we can support you. There will be a prompt every week for you guys so that you can be reminded, number one, to watch the video, and also to sort of fulfill that goal that you have to have a creative practice this year. Because can you imagine the brush miles that you will accumulate this year if you join me every week for a creative exercise, right? I mean, can you imagine how you are going to be painting and creating as an artist by the end of this year by participating in our weekly heart prompts, right? Not only will you grow as an artist, but you will also learn to trust your own creative intuition. You will learn to understand your art materials better, and you will be able to nail that projects that you want to get into, those ones that you want to frame for your house, that you want to give as gifts, or that you want to sell in order to supplement your income. So I find that we sometimes lack in confidence and we don't always understand our art materials very well, what is possible, what is not possible. And it's really hard to figure these things out while we are working on an actual project that we are so invested in. And then what happens is it doesn't quite go the way that you planned. And so, by the way, that is very normal in the art world. And then you sort of abandon ship and you give up and you sort of support that limiting belief that you are not creative enough, you are not talented enough, and after all, you are not an artist. I don't agree at all. I'm a self-taught artist, and I realize one truth. It takes practice, it takes more practice, yes, and it takes more practice in order to become a good artist. So even if you're a talented artist, you were born protege, I promise you, even those people have to practice at their craft in order to remain top shop. Okay, so I know you guys have set an intention to be creative this year and to continue in your creative practice. And as your Creatively Fit coach, that is exactly why I am here. That is my passion, to stimulate you guys, to inspire you, and to show you ways that you can try something new. So if you're excited about this, like I said, remember to hit that subscribe button, like the bell, and join me every Monday here in my studio for a creative session. So without any further ado, let me turn the camera around and show you my art supplies that I'll be using this year. Right, everybody, this is exciting. We are getting into a new year of a creative practice. And yes, my table is covered in materials. So I just wanted to take some time during this first episode just to let you guys know what I use and what I will be using as we continue to play every Monday in our creative practice. So it is my intention to help you guys grow creatively, to build your intuition and your creative heart. So this is what I'm going to be using this year in order to do just that. So let's get into all of my art supplies that I've laid out here. If you want to participate this year, this is the materials that I will be using. So I encourage you to use whatever you have at hand. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. I have accumulated this over a number of years. So I thought I'll just sort of show you what I have. So if you are interested to go and get your own, you are welcome to just visit your local art supply store and see whatever you can get that is similar to what I am using over here in South Africa. So I'm going to just start here with the big stuff on the side. I've got my trusty oil pastels. I've recently acquired a new set. I've got another set that is actually the one that I'm using. So I'm just starting to use colors that I don't have in that set. But oil pastels are a great go-to because they are just a little bit more easy to work with than normal powdery pastels, because this doesn't, just disappear off your page. And I do like how it sort of works together with acrylic paint, even with watercolor, because then it would obviously be a bit of a resist because of the oil base in there. But it's a lot of fun when you start combining materials. The next thing I have here is just my watercolor supplies. This is a metallic and a very bright neon range that I've got. And this is from Shakura, which is a Japanese brand. And I know that this Koi watercolors is available worldwide, and they have a number of palettes like this that is awesome to work with. This is my other more professional watercolor set that I got. This is Core, so that's from Golden. And I just kept the box, and I've got these little pockets that I squeeze my watercolor in, and then I use this as a watercolor palette as well. So this is a little bit more on the professional side, but any watercolor will do. Then I just acquired this acrylic marker set. This is from Giorgion. It is new to me. It has 36 colors. And what I like about it, it is acrylic markers. So it's not ordinary ink markers. So you can work with this on any surface. And it's nice because I am a multimedia artist. I do enjoy playing with a variety of tools and of mediums on my artwork, and I was quite surprised yesterday to see how nice they are, even though this is really a student grade level of acrylic markers. Your professional markers will be your Poscas and things like that. I do have a number of Posca pens as well. I tend to go for like the white kind of Posca markers because I know they are a high quality marker, especially for when I want to do some white line work over my materials. So I'm just going to put that aside. Then you will obviously need a trusty scissor, especially if we're going to get into collage. I also have a metallic ruler. Metallic rulers are great for tearing papers and also for measuring stuff on your canvas or in your art journal. I've got a pencil. It's always nice to have a pencil to do your line drawings or markings with. I've got a whole range of acrylic paints. This is my main medium that I play with, but I do like to meddle in all kinds of mediums, and you will understand later when I say that in my prompt box that we'll get into just now. I like to switch mediums it really helps me to be creative and to try something new. And sometimes you discover, something about your art materials that you wouldn't have known if you haven't experimented and played. So acrylic, any acrylic paint will work, from student grade all the way to professional. Whatever you can afford is what I always say is a good place to start. A trusty pencil sharpener is always a great tool to have at hand. And then I also have a whole kit of gouache. Gouache is also a watercolor, but it's a lot more opaque, and it's also fun to get into. I really want to expand my gouache medium this year as well. I really just have a student grade starter kit here that was great just to experiment with, but I definitely want to get into more of that this year. Then I just have a nice little bottle, and I keep my ordinary whiteboard chalk in here. I like to sort of just outline some of my work, especially my bigger painting projects, when I plot what I'm going to be painting to look at my perspective, balance, and proportion. I just use a temporary medium like whiteboard chalk to just draw my outline before I start painting. Now, one of the things you'll see me play with is just rubbing alcohol. This I get from my pharmacy. This particular bottle is 91% rubbing alcohol. It's a lot of fun to play with your alcohol in your techniques. So we will play with that. Then I just grabbed, this is just a water spray bottle. Well, it's actually a leave-in treatment. That is finished. I'm recycling the bottle. I just like to use it as a water mist to mist my canvas, or to just keep my paint damp and wet. So any water mister is a great idea to have at hand. Then I'm going to have artist acrylic geisha. Geisha is great if you want to geisha your page or your canvas or whatever you're going to paint on, especially if you want to prepare that medium that you're going to work on for acrylic paint. And so it's always handy to have a bottle of geisha at hand. Now, one of the major things that you will see me play with, especially if we get into collage, is my acrylic matte glazing medium. Now, this is a student grade version. I get them in big bottles. So you have professional ones. Most of the acrylic houses that make acrylic paint will have acrylic mediums available as well. Just go to your art supply store and look at your acrylic medium. Usually they have a gloss or a matte option. I do prefer the matte option, but it's up to you whether you like to have a glossy finish or a matte finish. It's a great glue to glue your acrylic mediums and papers and focus things down with. And it's a great way to seal your paintings as well, especially if you're going to be playing with multimedia and to just keep your layers intact. So this is a must-have for your art supplies. Then next, I also have just ordinary PVC white glue, especially for those heavier things that I want to maybe glue to my collage page, or whatever I feel I need to glue with something that's stronger than the matte medium. I will use ordinary PVC glue for that. And then I also like to just have a glue stick. This is just a deli glue stick. This is also excellent for just working with paper in collage when you don't want to have too much of a wet business. So this is also great for collage elements. Then you will also need a bucket of water. I do like to just use old meat or vegetable trays as a palette where I can dispense my paint and play with that. You can also use a professional palette to dispense your paint on. And then I just have a variety of brushes from small to big. I even have my new paint movers, which is a plastic paintbrush, or shall we say a silicone paintbrush. That's great to move paints with. So a variety of brushes. I will discuss each week what I use for that particular lesson. Then just a rag. It's great to have a rag handy to dry your brushes, especially if you work with mop brushes and you want to blend materials. You need a rag just to dry the hair, because this is like goat hair that can hold a lot of water, and water control is one of the main things that we sort of need to look at in our practice. So having a rag handy for that is always a great idea. I also like to use these paper kitchen towels just to wipe any messes up with that. And then I just have my beautiful candle that I got as a gift for Christmas. That's beautiful rose scented candle. And for my creative practice, I like to just set an intention and maybe light a candle and just bring a beautiful energy and flow to your session. Now, last but not least, I'm using ordinary painter's tape. I like this thinner version because for my art journal this year, I would like to just border my pages with a little bit of masking tape around the outer edge that just secures my page. And then when we're done with that week's exercise, it's really nice to take that painter's tape off and have a nice tidy border around my paper in my art journal. So painter's tape is a good idea if you would like to have that masking off option. Now I've got here my brand new art journal for the year. I got it last year for my birthday, and I've been waiting to get into this. So it's got a nice hardcover board. This I see on the board here is A3 size, and in the States this was labeled for $50. So I think I bought it for on special for 390 Rand on, where did I buy this? I can't even remember. I think it was Take a Lot. In South Africa, we have Take a Lot, which is a lot like Amazon, and I ordered it on there. It's A3 size. The paper isn't too thick, so it's not like 150 GSM watercolor paper. This is less. This is like maybe what, 50 GSM. So the paper is quite thin. I thought the paper would be a little bit thicker, but you know what? We're going to make it work. So I might just work on one side of the paper, not on both sides. And then we'll have one page at a time to play on, but there is plenty of pages to get through. And I decided to try this ring formation because, you know, a book like this can get a bit chunky if you add collage elements to it as well. So I thought that would give my journal a little bit more space to expand as we work through all these papers. But you know what? Anything can happen this year. So this is just so that if you want to join me on this creative journey this year, that you know what I will be using. And if you want to work in a similar format, then you are more than welcome to go ahead and get yourself an art journal like this. Like I said, this is A3 size. You're also welcome to go for A4 size. That's a little bit smaller. I think what it's all about for me is the size of your art journal really is up to you, what you are comfortable with. I found that the small art journals is fun if you have less time in the week to get into your creative practice, because obviously the bigger your page is, the more time it's going to take you to fill that page or to create something on it. But you're also welcome to decide how much of the page you want to use. So I've had a 5 art journal that we played in the year before, and then I went up to a 4 size, and then last year I created my own concertina art journal that was basically A3 size if you open the pages, maybe a bit bigger. And that's why I decided to stick to the size, because it's quite a lot of fun to have a bit of space to play with in your art journal. So that is what I'm going to be working on, and I'll let you know how I feel about this particular art journal. I'm just going to put it aside here, get it out of the way, because one of the most important things I want to talk to you about today is my art prompt system that I've been developing over the last 2 years. Now, this is my 3rd year doing my Creative Art Prompt Mondays. So you can just check out my YouTube channel. There is a playlist, Creative Heart Prompt 2023. That is actually a combination of 2 years worth of creative prompts, if you want to sort of backtrack a little bit. So this year's Creative Heart Prompt, please subscribe and follow this playlist, because it is going to be brand new 2024. It's up at the top of my YouTube channel. I've posted it at the top there. There's also going to be links in the description of this video that you can just click on in order to make it easier for you to find that. So what I've done is I've just used ordinary watercolor paper. In fact, you will see this episode in last year's Creative Heart Prompt playlist. And I painted the back with beautiful patterns just to sort of create a background. And then I started to develop my own playlist. Well, not a playlist, a prompt list. And what I've done recently is I've sort of made the prompts go into a particular category. And the categories are as follow. I think I've done the yellow little numbers here. I've done the principles of design, which is, I think the 8 principles of design. So I've made them yellow. And then I've got, what have I got here? The mediums I've done in blue, like watercolor, switch medium, gouache, acrylic ink, acrylic paint, oil pastel, markers, you name them. Whatever I have at hand, I've made a little card for that. And then I've got the red ones, which is, I think, the design elements. And we look at shape, we look at form, we look at space, we look at texture, we look at line, we look at value, all of those kind of things. And then I've got techniques here in pink, like alcohol, splatter, drip, transparent, use a stencil, dots, matte or gloss. You name it. There is all kinds of techniques that I've used before that I like to work with, and this list is open to expand and grow at any time. And then I also have like form, circles, rectangles, organic shape, geometric, spirals. Oh yes, and also color schemes, analogous, opposites, neutral, random, marks, dominant hand, non-dominant hand. All of these kind of things I've added to this little prompt card list. And then I also have visual cues. I've literally made a little, a little sample of all the paints, acrylic paints that I have. And that can also be a prompt for playing with that particular color. So it's a lot of fun. I even collaged this little piece here. There's a bit of collage on there. So then it becomes an open interpretation. There's ink blots, there's splatters that I can use. So what I'm going to do with these little prompt cards is I'm going to come every week. I've got a sort of theme planned out for the whole year. There's a variety of series. I've shortened some of the series between 6 to 8 weeks. We will focus on a particular sort of vibe. But each week I'm going to come in and I'm going to just draw some of these cards. I'm going to shake it up. And then what we're going to have is we will have a principle to look at. We will use a medium. We're going to play with a particular color. And we will also do a technique, for example. And then that is going to be sort of my direction in the art journal. Then I know, okay, we're going to play with pink. I must use a gouache medium. And it's not locked into then only do that. It might just be the way I start that week's exercise. And, you know, sometimes maybe the technique won't work with the medium. So I'll draw another one and say, okay, let's do rather a wash and a glaze, playing with gouache and bring in another color. So whenever you're stuck in your creative practice and you don't know what to do next, you can always come to your prompt system and just draw another card and say, oh, okay, let's add some texture to that. So the fun thing about a prompt system is that every week you really build your intuition in your creativity because you don't know what card you're going to draw. Some weeks I'm really inspired by the theme that I've got and I won't even, you know, look at the prompt system. Other weeks I'm a little bit stumped as to how to start or approach that theme. And then I will use my prompt system to get into that and just break it open and begin to play with that. And I find that develops your intuition and you learn to play, you learn to experiment and to be open to whatever comes to you in that session. And then to just go with it and roll with it. Some pages will be absolutely beautiful. Some pages will be absolutely horrible. That's part of a creative practice, right? Not every single thing that we create will be, you know, frame worthy or sale worthy, but that is not our main goal for having a creative practice. There are times when I come into my studio to produce. I'm actually currently working on a big commission. And then I will focus on, you know, my experience that I've built up during my creative practice in order to produce art that is, you know, providing an income for me. But I find that a lot of people are stuck. They want to have a creative practice, but they don't know where to start or how to go about it. And they want to sort of learn to develop their own voice and their own style and their own color palette. But where do you start? How do you develop that? So by copying other artists, yes, that's a great way to practice. That's a great way to get into technique. And I encourage you guys to check out everything that I will offer this year as far as that is concerned, especially on my Patreon page. There's some exciting things coming. I'm going to be doing a lot of fun programs this year. But, you know, that small what shall I call it, creative practice, something that you can do every week that maybe doesn't take hours. Maybe you only have an hour a week, maybe you have half an hour a week, maybe you only have 10 minutes a day. Whatever your lifestyle look like, I want to just encourage you to overcome that first limiting belief early on in this year that I don't have time to play with prompt cards and to draw in an art journal. If it's not going to be a big piece of art that I can frame, it's not worth it to get into it. I totally disagree with that. I think it is excellent to play and have fun and experiment at least once a week in an art journal to explore and to open yourself up to new ideas and to find inspiration. And many a time I've done something in an art journal that sparked joy for me, and I really, really liked how everything came together, and it turned out to become a big piece of art that is hanging in my house or that I can sell at the gallery. So I hope that you are encouraged, that you know sort of what I'm going to be playing with, and I'm going to be getting into this prompt card box soon, and I'm going to start next week by getting into our first themes for the next few weeks, which is going to be to play with some color schemes. Oh yes, one of my very important things that I didn't have on my table yet was my color wheel. I encourage you to invest in a color wheel. In the beginning, I really thought, I know color. I'm a hairstylist as well. I work with a color wheel every day of my life as a professional. But I promise you, it really is one of the most important tools that I can advise you to get into when you get into your creative practice. So over the next few weeks, we're going to sort of be inspired by the seasons, and we're going to be playing with our color schemes. We're going to be using, I think coming up, we're going to be using 2 warm shades and 1 cool shade. And the following week, I'm going to do 2 cool shades with 1 warm shade. And we'll get into that on our art journal page. So I want you guys to just go out, get your art supplies ready, and get excited with me, because I have a lot planned to offer you this year so that you can develop your creative practice. And then I want to encourage you guys, if you've watched an episode of the weekly prompt, remember to like it and share it if you've found that valuable. But go to your art studio, go to your art journal, use that prompt of the week, and then after you've done your exercise, please take a photograph and share it with me on our Facebook group. You can just share it as a post. Don't wait for a prompt. But on a Monday, there will be a prompt that will come up. You can just share it as a comment on that prompt every Monday. I will encourage you to check out my latest video and then to get into your creative practice. So share it with us so that we can support you and cheer you on. And it's always fun to see how you interpret that week's prompt and how you take it to your art journal and execute it and render it in your own unique way. So that is going to be exciting. So look at the subscriptions and hit that notification bell. Look at the links in the description of this video. Everything is there that you need. If you want to dive deep with me, join my Patreon. There's a link for that as well. I know this January we are going to be painting dream catchers, because I'm going to be showing you how you can use your canvas as your manifestation board, and that is so exciting. So I'll share more about that as we go. So thanks for tuning in this very short video this week as we get started in 2024, and get your art supplies ready, and I'm excited to get into it with you guys. So let's get ready to be creative together.